Okay, welcome to Into the Channel podcast, primarily about women's football. Before we hit the pitch, if you enjoy the show or love women's football as much as your boys do, come kick it with us already. Subscribe, follow YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to watch or listen at ITC_pod on X. I am your host, Dino De Cespedes, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Grant Engel. What is up, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, buddy. I don't want to get overly philosophical, but I do think it is really important for people to enjoy a journey, not get too hung up on every single result. And even then, sometimes a bad result can kind of catapult you into other good things. So there's my total Instagram post, nonsensical, uplifting quote for the day. I feel sick even saying it.
A little daily stoic action from your boy here.
There it is.
Yeah, all right. So I like it. A little reflection episode. Sounds like you got the old cerveza getting ready to get cracked.
Oh yeah, I'm just teeing it up. You go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm going to join you.
Oh, all right, one of those.
Yeah, got to celebrate. We're bidding a couple of our favorite teams adieu. So seems only right. Cheers to all those teams that brought it, and left a little mark on this year's Champions League. So with that said, Mr. Grant Engel, where you want to get started?
I think there's only one place for us to start this week's program. It's riding triumphantly alongside the Brann Battalion.
Let's go.
Okay, let's get out of the way, which is a fine result. Barcelona won the second leg quarterfinal match 3-1 at home over Brann, but that doesn't even come close to telling the story of what happened. Brann was obviously a UEFA Women's Champions League debutante, but they not only made it to the quarterfinal, they made it there with relative ease. Like, trying to look back and think about this, like, the whole journey that we've been on, I look back and was like, yeah, I never really sweated them making the quarterfinal. It felt like it was wrapped up pretty quickly. So how did we get here? Opening match, 2-1 win at St. Polten. I want to say, like, even in the pre-show research, like when we decided to do this, we knew we were going to preview the tournament. I knew Brann was going to be fucking rad to cover at first. Like, we identified Gopset pretty early. We thought they were going to be fun to watch. But that 2-1 win over St. Polten, I thought, like, okay, I think I'm really going to like this team. Second match, 1-0 win at home over Slavia Praha. They dominated possession, and it was our first view of the battalion in live action on television.
Mm-hmm.
Third match, 3-1 loss at Lyon. I felt like the stats and scoreline, kind of looking back at them, didn't reflect the story of that match, and we'll always have the Justine Jelland goal at the 73rd minute. The first surprised look on the face of a Brann player when they score a goal in a big match. Then, fourth match, to bring him to 7 points, the 2-2 draw in front of the battalion at Bergen against Lyon. One of the matches of the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
I feel comfortable saying that.
Yep. Snow game, reverse fixture. That one was a classic.
Hell yeah. Equalizer at the death. Anything you could have asked for. Then, what do we have? At Slavia Praha in the fifth match of the group stage. 1-0 win. Dominated the ball. Punched the ticket to the quarterfinals. A fucking glorious day.
Let's go.
And then finally, 2-1 win at home versus St. Polten. Eichland winner at the death. Didn't need to win the match. Already punched the ticket to the quarterfinal, but they won because guts and heart, and they wanted it more. And I don't know, whatever sports cliche you want to throw in there. So then Brann used that momentum, and we already know what happened just a couple weeks ago. They battled the world's most elite football club to a close 2-1 loss in the first leg, something that most people outside of Bergen and outside of your boys didn't think was possible. Mm-hmm. But we all knew. We knew what time it was. So I tweeted this from the ITC account, but I just want to say, making internet friends with so many Brann supporters has been the highlight of the tournament for me.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have been unreasonably cool and accepting of us. I'm really grateful that this little podcast has led to us finding a small space in your community, and we're very much looking forward to learning more about it because we have so much more to learn. There's so much history and so many other like foibles. There's something about a frog that I need to go back and learn about in Norwegian slang. So I just want to say, for me, I think I can slightly speak for Dino on this, but thank you very much for letting us in the battalion as honorary members.
Oh, yeah. 1,000% cosign. I think there's also some fun parallels between our little show and that squad from Bergen, SK Brann. So I jotted a few of these down. Both Brann and Into the Channel podcast, UEFA Women's Champions League debutantes, Cecile Reddish-Kvame, shocked that she scored against Barca. Your boys equally shocked that our Brann video has been viewed thousands and thousands of times. DAZN's Cam Pope called 2 of Brann's matches against Barcelona. DAZN's Cam Pope, 2 appearances on the ITC during this Champions League run.
All right.
SK Brann and the Into the Channel podcast, both fully backed by the Brann Battalion. Let's fucking go. And I think both the club and the pod have no issues saying this. Cindy Gaupset, she changed our lives. So let's go. I guess what I'm getting at here, much like you, I'm thankful that the football gods brought all of us together. And honestly, what more could a couple of American football bros like us ask for?
Well, you say we're American football bros. So, of course, one of the prevailing feelings that most Americans have is unfettered greed. So what more could we have asked for? We could have asked for an incredible upset victory for Brann, but that was not in the cards. And that's okay, because Dino and I dislike most greedy Americans anyway, so we can reject that part that's in our nature. I just think, man, I think we got to talk about Carolina Graham Hansen again. Mm-hmm. CGH is a world beater in this match. Brann had to pretty much throw everything at her just to even kind of limit her impact on the match, and she still had a significant impact on the match. She completed 83% of her passes. Even though she didn't score, 4 of her 5 shots were on target. She was a constant source of pressure on Brann's defense, and that freed up Aitana Bonmati to play her typical match and notch the opening goal and an assist on Patri's goal. The only way, I think, I'd be curious to get your opinion on this. I feel like probably the best way for a massive underdog to even hope to beat or even compete with a giant elite club like this is to play physical, to play organized defense, and then pick their spots when they can be brave on the ball and try to hold possession. I think Brann did that about as well as any club with a significant wage and resource disadvantage could hope to do.
Well, CGH, just to rewind real quick, she did the thing again where there's just no beating her to the end line.
Yeah.
If she wants that end line, it's hers. She's just taking it. Doesn't matter what you do. And I was impressed with Barcelona in this one, because we had some people in the YouTube comments just being like, oh, you're going to see it's going to be 6-0, 6-1, 7-1, 7-0, talking real crazy. And I understand that sentiment, but obviously Brann was not going to allow that. To your point, the physical play, the resilience, the toughness. I mean, that we knew it was going to be 180 plus minutes of Brann ball, like we like to say. But credit to Barcelona. They played essentially mistake-free football. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're not even going to give you one chance. We're not going to make one dumb decision or one silly back pass or we got a shot at a goal or try to get fancy with something. They played technical, clinical, sharp football. And we're like, we don't need to get 7, but we're going to make it impossible for you to overcome this deficit. When we have a chance, we're going to take it. And we're not going to even leave the door a smidge open for this Brann side, because I think they knew that was only going to, Brann had their chances, had a couple really nice moments. They obviously get the goal. DAZN will work on our technical difficulty issues.
Still love you, DAZN.
Yeah, shout out to DAZN for sure, but tough moment over here in the U.S. and apparently in other spots as well. According to our guy Camp Hope, trying to call that one live. I did uncover a stat that I thought was very telling, and apologies for all the math, but I feel like these numbers really do tell the story of the tie and perhaps of some of Barcelona's game plan, but also their frustrations. So in 26 Liga F matches this season, Barcelona's put 39.82% of their shots on target. And in an incredible bit of symmetry, they've converted the exact same 39.82 of those shots on target into goals. I checked this math 5 times. It's almost like the team is running off an algorithm at this point. It's kind of spooky, kind of disturbing, but it is what it is. So for the purpose of this exercise, let's round up and say 40% of their shots are on target. 40% of those shots on target become goals. Against Brann, their shots on target rate dips from 40 to 34. So Brann making it a little bit tougher to put a shot on target. And then instead of cashing in on 40% of their shots on target like they do in Liga F, Barca was only able to convert 25% into goals against Brann. So those numbers, I think, tell a really interesting story, because we also saw in the comments too, people were like, oh, well, we got so many shots. We got 30 shots or 20 something shots or whatever. On a normal day, those become goals. But I think one thing that we've learned is against Brann, there is no normal day. It's going to be a hard day, however way you slice it. Credit to Brann's defense for that, their tenacity, and that difference maker in goal, Aurora Mikkelsen, really kept them in it. 180 plus minutes to be proud of. But again, I think credit to both of these sides. We got a great couple of performances from Brann and a great couple of performances from Barcelona. And then obviously the more talented, the deeper team, the more experienced team kind of wins out.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, that data there is really, really interesting because we have talked about like in close matches, or we talk about like managerial advantages that one squad might have. You're really just trying to chip away at that margin for error with your opponent. So I think that really does tell a really interesting story. Going from converting 40% of your shots on goal is just ridiculous anyway. But Brann being able to cut that down to 25%, that is a significant data point. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, quick follow-up on that. So they managed 20 shots on target over the 2 matches, 5 goals. Now, if they would have been at their 40%, that 5 goals becomes 8 goals.
Yep.
So that's what the people were expecting. They're like, well, 20 shots on target, that should be 8 goals against Brann. It's 5 goals because obviously Brann's going to be a little bit of a tougher customer than some of the Liga F competition.
Damn right. Hey, that Liga F take, by the way, it's aging. It's aging nicely. It's looking real Jeff Goldblum like, my good man.
I like it. Yeah, just add a little spice to it. Let it simmer on the pot. Starting to get some of those aromas, and it's gonna be a nice, tasty dish the next couple weeks here.
Aging with grace for sure. I want to get to a couple nice Brann moments from the match. In the 21st minute, a ball gets played over, and Senior Gaupset absolutely shrugs Mariona Caldente right off her. Just a big get off this, just with one shoulder. Hits a low shot from an acute angle. It was a relatively easy save for Katakoi, but still just the strength from, again, the teenage Senior Gaupset really kind of making sure we didn't leave this tournament without one more of those type of moments. Speaking of Caldente, she had a run pretty much in on goal. Stenovic steps right in front of her and had like a crucial intervention there to just pop the ball away from her. I thought that was a great look from Stenovic, who really, the tallest of tall tasks for all the defenders in this match for Brann. I mean, they held up, as you pointed out, as well as they could. And then, okay, we can't get out of here without talking about the goal. But as Dino referenced earlier, so in the United States of America, the stream of the match froze for like 25 seconds. And the 25 seconds it froze were exactly when Senior Gaupset plays that perfect pass to Svendheim, who sneaks the ball off the post into the net to pull one back. The stream freezes. I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, that's unfortunate. I don't like that. It comes back in that about 25 to 30 seconds, and it's showing the replay of the goal. Our guy Cam Pope, just the classiest, most professional dude you could think of. I didn't even put together that he's broadcasting, from a studio in Manchester. And so the stream for him froze too. So for this dude who's broadcasting a live Champions League match, loses the feed, it comes back, he has to immediately process, oh, no big deal, a fucking goal has been scored by the massive underdog. And it was just total confusion on this side and, as you mentioned, other sides of the pond.
Yeah. Conspiracy? I'm not going to go that far, but I don't know. Maybe they don't want us to be winning out here. I did want to give Barcelona some props in this one. Aitana Bonmati, obviously the tie is within 1 goal, so that very next goal, that first goal in the second leg is crucial.
Yep.
And I don't want to say Barcelona wasn't, I think they were having some success, but that Bonmati goal was just like, this is done now. Like, yep. I'm going to put this out of reach right now. And I'm going to keep working for the rest of the match to continue to put it further and further out of reach. I thought she was great. Caldente, she had some chances she couldn't cash in on. But, I mean, she kept obviously pushing, getting herself into good position. CGH, who you mentioned. I think Katakoi, we have to get her into that short list of players that just do not get rattled when the ball's in play. Mm-hmm. Just as cool a customer as can be, just like the ball's been, she's like, all right, I'll scoot over there and just grab it. It's no problem. I know you're sprinting dead onto it. She's just so fucking cool in goal. And I think when she gets beat, she's like, all right, that's not going to happen again. I thought this was, like I said, one of the more impressive Barcelona showings, I think, this season since I've been watching them. Because again, they didn't pour it on, they weren't overwhelming, but they played almost perfect football.
Mhm.
You know, and they get beat because Saint-Germain drops an absolute dime right just into the one spot that was going to make Barcelona vulnerable. But also, if you're Barca, you know that they're not going to be able to do that 2 times, 3 times, 4 times in a match.
Right.
So again, credit to them. I think this was one of their more impressive performances.
I think it's totally fair. And I think, not to always view everything through the Brann lens, but I think that's even more impressive for Brann. You totally nailed it, is that they made Barcelona have to play a great match. And Barcelona doesn't have to always play a great match to beat the hell out of you. And so, like you said, though, I mean, those elite, super elite, hyper elite players that Barcelona has, they showed up and knew that they had to play at that level. And they did it because, that's who they are, and that's what they do. Ultimately, I just want to go back to it. I mean, this is a Brann podcast. Who are we fooling here? This cannot be looked at as anything other than an unassailable triumph for Brann and its supporters. I was really psyched to see our pals in Norway kind of reveling in the joy of the journey. And I'll say this, if I may be so bold as to be the American spokesperson on behalf of the battalion, we're not looking at this as some kind of cute season of a lifetime story. This club has young, excellent players. This club has an excellent manager. Mm-hmm. They've shown an interest as a club in acquiring more talent. This might be the end of Brann's 2024 UEFA Mafia Women's Champions League, but this is the beginning of a new era for our club. We'll be fucking back.
1,000%. It's not going to be in next Champions League, unfortunately. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait a cycle, but that's okay. We've got some domestic action that we'll definitely be tuned in on. I appreciate you trying to pull some strings behind closed doors to see, could we arrange some coverage here in the U.S.? We'll keep you guys posted on that. Coming up, though, we're going to talk through the other 3 UEFA Women's Champions League quarterfinal matchups: PSG, BK Häcken, Chelsea, who will face this Barcelona side, getting past Ajax, and Lyon and Benfica. We're also going to share some early thoughts on the Champions League semifinal matchups, so you're not going to want to miss those. Like if you liked, and subscribe if you enjoyed talking a little Champions League football with your boys.
Come on, Cam. You know we're talking to you, buddy. You know the right people at DAZN. We got to make this happen. We got to get Top Syrian on DAZN. I won't put too much pressure on you right away. I know you got other matches to call, but, keep it in mind, buddy. And with Top Syrian in mind, the battalion rides again, April 13th against Lynn. We'll find a way to keep on rocking with you guys even before the matches are broadcasted over here. And seriously, to the battalion, one more time, Tusen Tak.